Let's stick in Columbus then and move into a potential transfer out, and one of the biggest ones from their academy to date, and that is Aidan Morris, who is rumored just today, at the day of recording, to be on his way to Middlesbrough, a $4 million transfer rumor. I just need to know your thoughts, because I think we disagree on things here.
Yeah, we talked about this briefly before we started recording. I don't like this. I don't like it. I mean, we talked about Aidan Morris last season, and both of us called him a top two 6'8" midfielder in the league last year. Top two in the entirety of the league. I think his level is better than championship. I don't think should be on a championship team. And I don't think Middlesbrough is in a situation like Leicester, Southampton, where they're like one of the top teams to potentially go up next season. I mean, they've been consistently hovering around the bottom of the playoff range, but I never feel like they're a threat to get up. Like, sure, next season they could do the exact same thing that they've been doing the last 3 seasons and maybe just scrape into the playoff where they'll probably just lose again. So I'd rather not see Aiden Morris rotting in the championship. If I were to pick a different team for him to move to, I would say Venezia in Serie A or newly promoted Serie A.
Enough with the Venezia move. They're going
Why not?
straight back
Why not?
down.
But
Oh,
that's fine. But they have like this American connection where they've brought in a bunch of American players, so could be a very easy transition for Morris to go into. He could play top level talent in Serie A, um, and get decent game time. Where as opposed to like him moving to a Premier League team where sure he's gonna like there's good competition there, but he's probably not gonna get a lot of game time. I mean, I would be fine with him going to like a mid-level Bundesliga team too. But I just don't want to see him rotting in the championship because he's such a good player. Like we talked about it, he's a completely well-rounded player. He does everything well.
it has been so good to not have to be on this damn podcast with you because I've been so not angry with stupid people. And now here you are again making dumb comments for dumb decisions. I like the move. I think it's a good move. I think the time is right for him to go. I think, this is right about the time you want to see him on his way. He just left he would have my guess is he probably would have been starting or first off the bench in the Olympics right now, but he had to leave to finish his move, right? But I think this is a good spot for him. The competition is solid, but it's not too deep, right? It's not like he's on a team that's got 6, 7, 8, 9, 6 8s, and he's gonna have to fight his way through all of it or go out on loan 100 times like if he signed with Chelsea, right? But the they've got guys. I'm looking here. They've got a center midfielder who's 36, who's going to need rotation. I'm sure. I'm gonna just check here really quick. Yeah, he played all 38 games last year, but was subbed out pretty consistently. The next guy up is Riley McGree, who is, as we know, an MLS legend for his time here. Those who know. Um, but he's coming off. He's got a little bit of a knock. They've got one defensive midfielder, 21 years old, and then an attacking midfielder, right? And I'm sure there are other players on here that aren't listed as center mids who have moved in at that point, but there's definitely room for him to perform here. And it's like good competition too. It's not like he's playing against Middlesbrough 2, which is where Matthew Hoppe went, right? And he was like, "Oh, I'm in the Middlesbrough second team." Like he will definitely compete in this first team. And I think the other thing that comes about it and the price and how he'll get on, 4 mil for me is a good price for him, right? I technically, and I mean, take what you will from transfer market, right? But he's valued at 3 mil on transfer market. So it's in the right range. But they also get a sell on fee, and we know how he performed. We know how he plays. We know that the championship is very similar to MLS in the way that they play and the style that they play. He will perform as he's done here, and that transfer fee will be high, meaning Columbus will make good money. Now, he's in and around the USMT picture, like I just mentioned. He was in the Olympics. He had to leave the Olympic team. His physical attributes are great. I mean, we talked about it in MLS Cup. The main reason Columbus were so good in MLS Cup is because Aidan Morris's recognition on the counter press was unbelievable. The second they lost the ball, he found the first person that they most likely were going to pass the ball to, and he pressed him. And he pressed him and he pressed him and he pressed him all the way up until they won the ball back, and then they were calm. His technical attributes in possession and in ball retention, they're both there. They're both very, very high. Him and Darlington Nagbe keep the ball at a better rate than anybody in the league. There's no doubt that there's going to be a learning curve overseas. There might be a different style to play. We know this. That always happens this way. But I think he's really built well for a run in a couple of years for the championship. And then if it doesn't work out, then maybe look at a Belgium or a low-level Bundesliga or whatever. But I think he's got the ability to fit in now, adapt to that game, similar to Tyler Adams in a sense, where he played at a lower level, adapted, and then moved. That's what I think he will do here.
What was Tyler Adams playing? What was his lower level? Are you saying Salzburg?
I think the
Was he even ever at Salzburg, or did he go
no,
straight to
he was
Leipzig?
at Leipzig. So the move I think I'm talking about is the Leeds move, where he goes from Salzburg to Leeds with Jesse. It's a low level, it's a crappy level. He has to play through it, and then he ends up at Bournemouth for 27 mil. Now, again, this is different because Aidan Morris is not Tyler Adams, right? Like two completely different players. But I can like if Tyler Adams jumped from Leipzig to Chelsea, Tyler Adams is nowhere to be found right now. Like this is the type of path I think he needs to go. That's kind of what I was getting at.
I don't disagree that, nor do I think he would ever garner the interest of a Chelsea, Man City, like top team where he'd be stuck in lone what's the right word? Purgatory.
Yeah.
But I think the Middlesbrough move totally opens the door to him just being stuck in the championship for like years, which is just not a level that like he's in my opinion better than the championship. I think he can compete at a level above the championship. Um,
So
if if he were
if I may cut you, sorry, I want to cut you off here because here's the problem I have with that is you and I understand that the championship and MLS are very, very similar. Overseas, that's not the case. Overseas, people think that championship is clear of MLS and this is a step up. So if he can perform here, now they've shown that he can take a step up, even though realistically, depending on the team that he plays against and the team that he's playing in, it's not really the biggest step up, right? But if they can do that, then he makes that jump. The only way he's stuck here, in my opinion, is if he doesn't perform well. And at that point, pull a Jordy Mihailovic and come on home, then try again later.
I think well that's the worry is I feel like especially as a midfielder, I feel like it's going to be harder to stand out. Like obviously with a striker, it's easier to just look at the stats and be like he was good or he was bad. Did you score goals or did you not score goals? I feel like with a midfielder like Morris, who's not involved in the attack as much and he does a lot of the dirty work that doesn't show up in the box score, it's going to be harder for him to stand out if Middlesbrough is like just stuck in this Millwall-esque loop where you're just constantly stuck in the championship. And you're not a threat to go down, but you're not exactly like threatening the top teams to get auto promotion. And then at that point, I think he's limiting his ceiling because he's just not playing against stronger competition where he's just stuck playing against championship level, which, like you said, is comparable to MLS, where he's already won the title and has, you could argue he's kind of done all he needs to do in MLS. And I definitely agree this is now the right time for him to make the jump to a new league. But like you and I said, or like you had said, you and I are both of the opinion that this is not necessarily a step up, more like a step horizontally. So that's why I think he would be better off with a move where he either if he's gonna step horizontally, I'd like to see him make a move where there's easier potential to make that jump up vertically, take that next step. Whether that's like a Mark McKenzie-esque move to a Belgian team, or it's a move to a Dutch team where you I think could have more chance to shine and to like get into European competitions and play against like a better level of competition.
Okay. I mean, listen, like we can have this argument all day long. We probably will once the camera cuts, but um, you know, let us know your thoughts if you're listening at home. What you think about this move? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Are you on the right side of this conversation? Are you on Connor's side of this conversation?
Well, my
Let
side
us know.
is also the right side, pun intended.
You're so funny.
Thank you.
You know what else is funny? The fact that
What?
Atlanta